check this microphone. We're gonna check the microphone. Get it up like that, and see where we're at. Lots of craziness going on today. If you're just joining, this is gonna be a call-in show. So, uh, somebody put my number up. I don't know if I got my number. Oh, that ain't my number. Let's add my number. Text. Phone number. I didn't have my phone number in there. Sorry about that, guys. 719-377-0343. If you want to call in, if you got something you want to talk about, if you don't have anything you want to talk about, no worries. You don't have to call in. You can just sit back and listen. But if you want to call in, there's the number. And you can give me a call on my phone. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about. But I better plug my phone in or it's going to die. I've already been on the phone with the city. I've been on the phone with artists around the country. Dad's getting shit done today. Getting stuff done. The house is empty. So I don't have any distractions because the wife took the kids out for a hike. Uh-oh. Phone is unlocked. Accessory. Done. Make sure my volume's up so I don't miss a phone call. What are y'all doing today? I don't even like that camera angle. What about this camera angle? That's a little better. Maybe not the best, but I like it. Let's see. Today, with Dad with the phone, I don't know what we're going to talk about. Thanks for ordering shirts today. Who ordered shirts today? Oh, Denise from Ohio, maybe. I want to check. I want to thank these people. Thank you for supporting Dad with the phone. My shirts are not cheap. They're t-shirts. Denise. Thank you, Denise. From Omaha, Nebraska, actually. I don't know how I got Ohio, but she ordered some shirts today. I had a couple others. Let me see. John from... Let me go back. I'm going back. All orders. I just like to thank these people. Debbie, Denise, and Josh. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Denise. Thank you. Right now, all of my t-shirt sales are going to pay my damn lawyer for going to jail with Patrick. Cost me money and I got to pay a lawyer. So you can order shirts, the bottom link down here. If you don't want to order a $40 t-shirt, which I would never order a $40 t-shirt, but you would never put your mugshot on a shirt either, probably. And I did. So last night, I was supposed to go live with Jay is for Justice, but we were both just whipped. Our asses were whipped. So last night I did 3 city meetings. 3, count them 3. This morning I had a quick phone meeting with a couple of city people. And we got some cool projects. Hopefully we're going to kick off in Woodland Park. I know. People around Woodland Park aren't real. They either love me or hate me. Most of them love me. And I think the only reason why I think anyone hates me is because there's like 1 or 2 idiots in town. And those 1 or 2 idiots, they don't seem to like me. So, but everyone else, even yesterday at the meeting, I had 3 people come up to me at the strategic planning meeting and actually thank me for coming. They thank me for being involved. They watch Underground or Dad with the Phone, which was cool. I walked into one meeting and someone screamed out, "Dad with the phone." Oh, I just missed a call. Oh, shit. I just missed a call. Call back. 360. Call back. I'm so sorry. Call back. How did I miss that call? Why didn't my ringer go off? From Washington. Call back. I'm so sorry. I missed a call. Call back. I don't want to call them because that's not really appropriate. But it's appropriate for them to call me. I just don't know why my ringer didn't go off. That's no fun. But anyway, I walked into a meeting yesterday and someone screamed out, "Dad with a phone." And I thought, damn, don't do that in my town. I don't mind you doing that when I'm not in town, but don't do that here. Don't do that locally. I'm so sorry I missed your call, whoever just called in. I will not miss it again. I promise. I don't know why my phone didn't go off. That's some nonsense, is what that is. Good afternoon, Shell and Bobby. In a private office on a private road, a private lawyer. I need a private lawyer. I need freaking KK's lawyer. She has a lawyer and a half. Oh, we got some. Listen. Some of those, some people, we're going to do some special content, is what I can say. Somebody liked one of our videos the other day. The one that we did from Evergreen Station where we drove to Woodland Park. And they were like, you should do a video about this. And I was like, oh, I don't know that I necessarily agree with the concept of the video, but I think it would be a fun video. I think it'll be entertaining for you guys. I think it'll be educational for some. And then it's going to show how ridiculous things really are around here, which is not going to be happy for everyone else. But nonetheless, I was going to go hiking with my kids. Now summer's hitting. Nikki's hitting the hiking trail every day now. Listen, Linda. What happened? I'm paying attention. Happy Friday, everyone. Let's see. Do you have a drone license? Would you get in trouble if you didn't have one for flying that there? All right. So, who is Loston? Translation. So, you don't have to have a drone license to fly a drone. You have to have a drone. You have to have a Part 107 license or a 107 to make money with your drone. I do both. Sometimes I fly as a hobbyist. Sometimes I make money. And yes, I'm legal. I fly all over in Colorado. I have flown in no-fly zone areas where I've had permission to fly. I did a Lamborghini commercial here in Denver and had to have a no-fly, or it was a no-fly zone because it was so close to the airport. So yes, you have to have a drone license if you're going to make money. If you're not going to make money, you can basically fly anywhere you want. That's a good question, though. I didn't know we were going to go into drone license questions. I actually did a podcast. Oh my God, I have to go find this podcast. I did a podcast with some other drone pilots just recently. It was kind of a spur of the moment deal. It wasn't really a podcast. It was an appearance on their podcast. Nash Ranch, drone those barns. Yes. So that could happen tomorrow. So tomorrow I have to be out at Omaha Frases. That's not a joke. That's a real statement. I'm not going to be out at Omaha Frases. I'm going to be down the street from Omaha's, and I'm going to actually be at the site for Colorado Crime Con 2K19. So October 11th, 12th, and 13th, we are having a real exclusive Colorado Crime Con. It's only going to be about 50 people, or I say it's going to be 50 people. We have room for about 50 people. And then we are going to do a 3-day, 2 nights, all-inclusive, except for alcohol yet. We haven't figured out. We're trying to figure out the alcohol thing. It's a BYOB place. That means BYOB and BYOB. Whichever you want to bring, it's BYOB. And so Colorado Crime Con, October 11th, 12th, and 13th. Tomorrow, I'll be shooting some live video on location from where we're going to be. I actually got a phone call from the owners today, and they invited me out to a special gathering tomorrow. And I was like, hell yeah, I need to shoot some video for Crime Con anyway. And so I've said all that to say I'm going to be 25 minutes to the Nash Ranch. So why not? Why not just go out and shoot some drone footage of the barn and that area out there? Why not? Why not just go do it? So I'm from Colorado as well. My BF has his drone license and flies for work sometimes all over Colorado. That's why I was curious about what you had and did with it. Yeah, I filmed on Major Motion Pictures. I filmed 3 movies in Colorado this year. Drone footage for 3 movies. What else did we do? We've done I've done everything with my drone. Shit, I've flown that thing indoor, outdoor, around the doors, through the windows. But I have flown out at the Nash Ranch. But here's something that happened for this case. This is a good question. Did I miss another phone call? I haven't missed a phone call. I'm gonna put that right there so I see it, because I don't know if it's ringing. Right. So, hopefully I didn't just mess up my camera shot. I wanted to talk about the Nash Ranch because people, um, people sometimes pretend that social media interferes with law enforcement, especially the sleuthing community. And sometimes social media just allows for quicker response, quicker information, a quicker, like a megaphone. Wow! It's a large megaphone. It's no different. It's really no different than if I sat here and screamed out my window, except that we have refined the megaphone and it travels, right? Ooh, is my phone ringing? No. Crap. I'm a little pissed no one's calling in, by the way. I'm just rambling now, but I was getting to the Nash Ranch. Something that happened. Oh, this is another great thing. Tonight, I'm going to be on with Jay is for Justice. What's cool about collaborating with awesome people? I'll tell you what's cool about collaborating with awesome people is sometimes those awesome people call you up and they're like, hey, the FBI want to search the Nash Ranch. This was before the pretrial. Listen, before pretrial, before anyone else knew about Nash Ranch, before any news organization, before Sam, before any reporter, boom, the cops want to search the Nash Ranch. Well, how do you know that? Well, one of our viewers owns a piece of the Nash Ranch, and they just got a letter. Uh-oh, we got a phone call. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, calling in live hot with Dad with a phone. Hello?
Hi, is this Dad with the phone?
Well, yes, it is. You're live on the air. Who am I talking to?
This is Debbie from Florida.
Hey, Debbie, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
So what do you got
I
going on
had,
today?
sure, a lot more than I'd rather share.
Oh,
but,
you're like, shut up and let me get my question in.
oh, no, not at all. First of all, I absolutely love you and Day is for Justice, but I love that you have such a passion for the law. I wanted to know why there were no boots on the ground in any searches in both Kelsey and Jepsy's cases, because, when we put boots on the ground, sometimes it's not so much to find the person, but it kind of gets that flock out that you want to find out what's really going on.
With Kelsey's case, and I guess with Jepsy's case too, because I had this conversation with some people at the prayer vigil, why we haven't organized search parties, why the police haven't asked for search parties in Gypsy's case, and that was they to me they were treating this. They're still treating this like a lot of people believe they're treating this as a homicide case, but the truth is I still think they're treating this as a missing person and maybe even a voluntary disappearance kind of thing, because that's the way it seems. Now that doesn't mean that's how they are, because we don't have any information. I wish they would do it. I forget boots on the ground. How about the cops just come out and do a press conference and let us know what they're doing or how they're treating this? But they're not. They haven't done that as either. And so when you talk about search parties, people just don't like. Okay, so for Gypsy's case, the search party would have to start at her apartment because that was where she was last seen, and they said she left there. But the person who said she left there isn't necessarily the most credible person. And so now you have to ask yourself, are we searching because we believe Gypsy ran away? Are we searching, and I understand the mob mentality. If people see that out there, it'll cause something. I think the greatest thing with search parties is you may wake someone up that didn't even know they saw something. like, oh yeah, I did see that girl walk down this way that day, or I did see a girl that fits that description. And so I think that would be a good thing. I feel like we do like a digital search party now with social media almost. Just
I respect that.
yeah, it's like a
I
digital,
understand you're
yeah.
kind of limited to what you can and cannot find out. Um, I just think it brings community together as well as, like I said, like when they first set up the Facebook for Kelsey, I know that was to help her family out, but I know they were smart and intelligent to do that for many possible reasons. It wasn't just for that. You know what I'm saying? There's always a reward is set up because we want to bring the mice out. You know what I'm trying to say this in a polite way.
No,
I believe you
no.
get the rats with the cheese.
No, like the award, the reward in Kelsey's case, um I'm not 100% who set that up, but I think the rumor has that it came from within, or it was a portion of from Kelsey's employer. And so I think that was a silent way that they helped to tried to help, Um
Right.
and in Gypsy's case, it's weird. Her case is weird because it's not necessarily the traditional relationship. Even though Patrick and Kelsey's relationship wasn't traditional 20 years ago, it has become the normal for people to meet online. It's
Very true.
there's nothing weird. It used to be weird when people used to talk about how they met, and if they met online or something, it was kind of like this weird thing. It was like, oh, we met online or whatever. And now it's just like, oh yeah, we met online. And so
Right.
even though sometimes I try to shrink that down to, oh, they met someone from America online. I even try to shrink that in my head. I find it normal that Patrick and Kelsey, met online, got engaged, got married, or were gonna get married and have kid, had a baby. I find that normal. But then when we talk about Gypsy's case, everybody wants to immediately go to, oh, she was a mail order bride, or oh, it was a immigration scam, or oh, it was, well, or maybe they fell in love. Maybe it really was they met
Right. They
online.
always try to make it dirty on the victim.
Yeah, which is crazy to me because, you know, for
You don't
all
know.
yeah, for all intensive purposes though, even like with Kelsey's case, people have tried to make it, I think some of that came from Patrick. I think it was this story that Patrick was trying to tell. But even if the victim isn't perfect, they're the victim of a murder. They don't get to defend themselves
Absolutely.
ever. Ever again can they stand up and say, "No, you're lying about me." So to
Right.
to make a victim anything but a victim is almost, they've done that. I mean, golly, they destroyed Shanann in the Chris Watts case. And I'm like, are you
Right.
crazy? This woman, as no matter what you think about her personal life, no matter what you think about her online videos, no matter what you think about, she's a victim of a murder, And so, yeah, to go after the victim is ludicrous. And I think that really just goes to, it's what people want attention. They want the, man, I don't know what it is. I guess it's something that has triggered in people that when they get a like or a comment or someone shares their photo, there is this drug that is released. And it doesn't matter if their stuff is negative or it's positive. They just want that drug released. And so that's what's happened on social media is people, I mean, Facebook did it. They admitted to it. They
Right.
spread, Facebook said negative stories spread. People
To
want
get
to
attention. Yeah.
yeah, people want to get, people are engaged with this. I mean, let's talk about, like, even yesterday here in Colorado, a horrific accident happened on the highway, and that thing's going viral today. Video of death. These
Wow.
people burning alive, in this
Oh, that's
accident,
horrible.
and people are so enthralled, and they want to talk about this. It's on every news station. It's on every social media. It's on everybody. This semi truck blow up. And so it's what fascinates you. I mean, it's murder case, it's true crime, it's this something that fascinates you even to watch Jay is for Justice and Dad and different shows that are about this true crime. So it's interesting, like human nature, where we go with things, and I don't even know how we got there over a search party question.
Well, honestly, I'll be honest with you. One of the things that I saw in you, especially, was your compassion, that you're sensitive to the spiritual realm of the fact that even you said, and I believe in this, I believe in God and the Holy Spirit and Jesus, that when you went down where Chris Fox lived, you picked up you can pick up a sense of something's not right in the area.
Yeah, I try to
And,
be.
and
I
I
try to
see
be.
that you
Yeah.
are very in tune with that, and that is true.
No, no. I mean, there's no denying it. I know, like, I got a lot of different kinds of people that watch me, and so I try to be open and honest to everybody. But like, even science tells us that there are things going on around us that we can't see, touch, feel, or taste. And like, that's
Absolutely.
science. Science has said maybe there's 12 dimensions, maybe there's 11 dimensions, or whatever they want to
Right.
call them. And in the religious world, and over history and over documents that have passed down from ages, they have talked about these realms. I've also done psychedelic mushrooms in the woods, and I can tell you, I have seen things that are as real as possible, and as that you could almost see, touch, feel, and taste, but yet that door is triggered by something else, right? I got there in a different way. I
Right.
took a different path to get to those
Right.
realms. I think one way into a supernatural realm, I believe this with all my heart, that one way into the supernatural is the collective power of people and the collective power of us thinking the same way. And so, man, I have noticed that not only on the Chris Watts deal when I was up there at that house, but one of the most powerful moments I have ever had in my life. And you have to understand that I've made a living behind the camera filming extraordinary things. And so I've seen a lot of extraordinary situations where things have taken place. I've seen men in other countries levitate right before my eyes, these shamans levitate, right? And so I've seen some crazy supernatural weird stuff that I can't explain. But one of the most supernatural times I ever had was when I was sitting in front of Kelsey's house and we were all just praying for the light and the truth. I don't know if you saw that video, but I damn near felt like I was levitating. And because of the power of the collective people. And there was only like 100 people watching. And so no, I definitely, you can call it spiritual, you can call it Jesus, you can call it the Holy Spirit. I think that it goes. I think that entity, that force, that God, that higher power. I think it goes by a lot of different names, and people get in arguments over the names. But we're all human, and we're all walking this. We're all
Absolutely.
walking this planet for the first time. Nobody's an expert at doing life, and so
Yes, that's right.
um, I don't know anyone who's lived two lives and lived to tell about it. And so
That's a
and
good fact.
you
And
know it,
that'll be a great interview.
well, it's one of those things where, like, it's fun. And this human thing, life and death, is definitely a powerful subject, right? It's because when you're born, you just came from whatever side, or you just were formed from whatever side, that consciousness. I'm not talking about the atoms. I love to talk about this story. When a baby's born, it's a day old, but it's made up of atoms that are billions of years old according to science. And so, like, the atoms that make up a brand new baby are billions or millions of years old. They're not new atoms. They're the same atoms that were here, but there's this soul or this consciousness. And so, right at the beginning of death, or right at the beginning of life, there is this cool veil right there. Same thing at death. And I think that's why murder, I think it tears the veil at the wrong time, and that's why it's still open. Like when you go to Chris Watts's house and you feel something,
Right.
it's because
Exactly.
the veil to life and death was torn at the wrong time. Same thing when I walk past Kelsey's house.
Yep.
Same thing that you walk past when you walk in a cemetery and get that feeling. It's because some of these people's veils were torn at the wrong time. They were murdered. They were taken before they were supposed to be. And so I am rambling now. So
You are not rambling. You are making sense, and I get you. You need to get online. But I will tell you
no,
this,
no.
and Tampa, Florida, and I was here for the Casey Anthony case. I was here when they picked the jurors. I knew why they went to Clearwater, and we won't get into politics or religion. Thank you for the Christian Scientists that were on the jury. And I was beside myself. But, listen, I always say, karma's a bitch, and she cannot be living a peaceful life that she would like to live, and that baby will get justice in heaven. The only thing I can think of. It wasn't right, but I love the fact, like I said, I'm encouraged by your passion, True Crime's passion, Jay is for Justice. I just love you guys because you're out and about trying to get the families to know what's going on, and I just really appreciate you.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, tonight, I believe, I don't know if it's out yet, but at 9 o'clock, you can check JS for Justice channel. She should have a announcement up. I'll be on JS for Justice tonight, so it'll be fun.
Okay.
Well,
I don't
thank
want
you.
to hog up your phone.
Oh, you're not. No,
forever, but
nobody else is calling in. But I mean, you got any? What are your thoughts on these cases? Did we
when
didn't?
Kelsey first spoke out, I knew something wasn't right because if you tell me that you see her, I used to work for Safeway in Washington State.
Okay.
If you see a woman with a baby, the stories were conflicting right off the beginning from the police when they were given the initial press interview because they told two stories. Patrick picked the baby up, and then he said that she brought her to the house. Well, which is it, one or the other?
Well,
and then I went on. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I went on Facebook because they had set that up, and I was being respectable because I definitely felt for the mom. I saw where a lot of people who knew her that were in the pilot, either training with her or however they were associated, said, definitely, this is odd and this is not her behavior. It's real easy to throw punches at both sides of the fence. You could say Patrick was a drug addict, you could say Kelsey was a drug addict. Does it really matter at the end of the day for the missing woman?
Yeah, I always wondered about that. Why they try to bring up their past and stuff. And I think part of it is they try to paint. They're trying to paint a picture of like, it happened here with the Mindy Lee case. They were like, oh, she was on meth or she was on
Right.
whatever, and so, but it's out of character from everyone else you talk to. Or same thing with Kelsey. But it's hard. It's hard, right? Because listen. I love my wife more than anything. More than anything. I love her more than anything. But marriage ain't easy. It ain't like we never turned on the live video when us two are screaming at each other, And so like I should one day. I should just, but then y'all would just call me an asshole. No. But what I'm saying is like marriage isn't easy. Relationships aren't easy. Two people trying to live together and deal with a kid or kids or kid are not easy. And so, do I think Patrick is some? Well, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. But do I think Kelsey was some
personal level? That's why I brought up I was here for the Casey Anthony case, and I'm going to tell you that. The known facts are when they were saying that the media was leaking things and this and that, Jose Baez, his office was leaking all that out because he wanted to build up how bad the dad was and the brother was, etc. So right away, that's what their opening line was. I can't imagine being George not wanting to jump over the railing and beat the hell out of him, just to be honest with you. But he couldn't.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like any of these cases, they
it's crazy.
Yeah, they were definitely Patrick's an interesting case just because he has been so quiet. He hasn't jumped up.
Anytime the news media went there, he was very you're on private property. Okay, we get that. And you just can't be a gentleman and say, listen, I can't talk right now, no comment. Yes, I'm looking for her too. No, he could have cared less.
No, and those are the things that I think is what's like the damning to him, right? Those are the things that are most damning. But I have begun to like think about how you're like because of something, and by God, because of how Dane's dad reacted to me when I called Dane up. I don't know if
Yes,
you
I
heard that
watched
call.
that. I was like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
so
Yeah.
like when that happened and Dane's dad said to me, well, you don't know how people will respond. Individual people will respond to situations like that. And I don't, right? My wife's not murdered. My kids haven't died. I have a real blessed, healthy family, right? So I can't put myself in Dane's shoes or I can't put myself in Patrick's shoes. But I can observe what's going on and go, if you were innocent, I can't see how screaming out for help from everybody isn't normal. Like how I would be screaming from the mountaintops for help. If my wife was
Right.
missing or if somebody had disappeared, And so like yes, when I look at Patrick, I can't say, well, I don't know what's going through his head. I don't know why he's acting that way. I don't know anything. But why isn't he just asking for help? Why didn't he come to the press conference? Why didn't he do his own press conference? All Patrick would have had to do is say, "I'm having a press conference right here in my front gate," and there would have been 50 news stations there. Right? He would have not had to. He wouldn't have had to do. He could have called Andrea Canning up from Dateline and said, "I want an exclusive with you, and I want to know. And let's plead for my wife." Right, or my
Right.
fiance, right? Um,
Right.
the only reason you
But in
wouldn't
the beginning, wasn't it masked that they were a fine couple when in reality they weren't? Because the mom did say during the press conference that they were
see,
okay. But we
yeah,
all finding out they weren't
no,
okay.
I don't think so. I think Kelsey was getting cheated on.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I don't think Kelsey was privy to this,
Right. Okay, I
this,
understand.
because we know for a fact that phone, or at least, okay, I shouldn't say we know for a fact. We know because of hearsay through um, through the court system that Kelsey was caught on camera the night before Thanksgiving, at the Walmart getting medicine. We know that she told her brother, according to her brother, that she didn't get in till 4 a.m. from
Mm.
or 4:30 running cows Thanksgiving morning.
Wow.
These are the stories her brother has
Yeah.
told. This isn't from Patrick. She made
Right.
the phone call Thanksgiving morning, talked to her brother, right? And so she was out running cows with, well, by first of all, she was in her happy place according to her friends. The one that the one of the rodeo friends that actually literally knew Kelsey had been entrusted to babysit the kid. Had helped out with Kaylee at the rodeos and different things. This woman told me that Kelsey's favorite place, and the interview's right online, that Kelsey's one of the favorite things she did was going out and running cows with Patrick and working the cows. One, because she didn't have to deal with old Ma. And
Right. That's a fact.
I mean, this is what her friends have said about Kelsey. These are the people who had talked to Kelsey and had
Um.
communication with Kelsey. And so when people say that they were trying to hide, I think for all intensive purposes, nobody except old Ma, Sean, and KK and Patrick knew about this relationship with. I think old Ma. Here's the deal. I think old Ma and Crystal Kinney are buddies. I think they're friends.
Absolutely.
I think they're
As well as the
actually
brother. I
friends.
don't think the brother should be even allowed to be a part of any of this.
Well, yeah, the
I
brothers.
believe they need to
Yeah.
bring an outside. Why not bring an outside force?
Well, and that's and they have with CBI, right, with the Colorado Bureau of Investigations. They have brought
No,
in.
it's Colorado.
Oh, I
So,
understand.
you know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
You get what I'm where I'm going
Yeah,
with this.
I
Can't we go
understand that.
federal?
I understand, but the feds just don't get involved in murders because then the feds would be overtaken in every state, right? And
That's
so,
true. You're right.
yeah, they can't just go. They can't just hand pick murders they're going to get involved with.
No, I get
Now,
it.
if I still think it's weird about the whole Sean stuff, but if we come back to Kelsey, she's again the victim. And this is why, like, I don't know, I don't know Kelsey, and I've only talked to a few. I've talked to two of her friends, ones that knew her before she moved to Colorado, and some that met her after she'd come here.
Right.
We paint Kelsey as an intelligent person because she's a pilot. We paint Kelsey as a loving, caring mother. Uh, you know, but Kelsey's not perfect. And there are a lot of women who are intelligent, who are great mothers, but they fall victim to domestic violence out of
Ab-
fear, out of ignorance, out
Yep.
of sometimes it's out of fear that they can never do anything else. Like if I
Or
if
that they're going to be single all their lives,
yeah,
and they go
so
for what's second best, and they settle.
So, like, a lot of people will take those. Well, why was she with Patrick? Why was she around Omar?
Right.
Well, we already know that her and Mrs. Fraze, Omar Fraze, didn't get along. We know that Kelsey, according to her friends, wanted Patrick to move out, to get out of his mom's house, to get out of the house, and he would not leave Omar Fraze. And so, and this is what I think. This is why I think they haven't even begun to look into the real people involved. And I think KK and Omar were our buddies from the get go, from years back, from 2013 or 2014 or whatever. She is what Omar wants Patrick to end up with: a cowboy, a cowgirl, a rodeo, whatever, and Kelsey didn't
Right.
fit that. And so I think that they could very, very much be be uh, be a part. She's a big part of this. She's a big part of this. Whether anyone, I don't like to point fingers at the old lady, but
No, I understand that.
I feel like she's a part of it. Especially when you say, I'll testify if I get immunity. Like if I get
Right.
immunity, I'll testify. Well, what do you need immunity from? you
Exactly.
know and so, yeah. Oh, Jay is for justice in the building. I tried to be a bigger person and it does not. Oh, I don't know what they're talking about. Oh.
Well, you know what? Like I said, I watch it is every day, just about. And I watch all of you. I
What's
even watch Scott Reich.
that
He's
guy
really
is?
good.
I like his because his are short videos. He does like these short videos,
Yes.
and he
Yep.
gets to the point.
And
Does
he's an
his thing.
attorney.
And he's an attorney.
So,
Yeah,
right. He's
but
not BSing you.
yeah. I mean, he's been to school. That's the difference. He's got the attorney side. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think the attorneys have much more than they know how to play the game, right? When you
He
play.
did say KK had a good attorney. He said he's got to point that out,
Oh,
which is scary.
well, I knew she had a good attorney when I read the court decorum that no camera could point directly
Right.
at KK. Listen, you can get this girl off on murder, but they went to the detail of saying,
I signed that petition, sweetheart. Let me tell you, I was jumping on it.
"Hey, we got some new stuff coming out for that petition here in the next few days, so stay tuned." Hey, someone else is calling in. I'm going to give them a chance.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Thank
thanks for
you.
calling in.
Hello.
Leah, what are you doing?
Hello.
You're in my phone now, you know that? So now I can screen you. Like I screened you the first time. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to take Leah's call yet.
Well, I'm glad that you did because I see right before I called you were just looking at chat a little bit maybe.
What's happening? Is there a troll here?
Well, I don't think they're a troll. They're just asking some questions about you and Jay and Jenny, and was hoping maybe you might address it.
Okay, yeah. What are the questions? Ask me one of the
They
questions.
want to know if you and Jay and Jenny have conspired to call the cops on people on YouTube while they're on live.
Yeah, because I have that kind of time.
Exactly. So these allegations were made against you guys last night.
Oh, well, and I don't mind addressing like trolls. I don't mind addressing trolls and like whoever's like making allegations. If it's like a YouTuber making allegations, the reason they're making allegations is because they have zero content, people. They are what we call counterfeit content creators. And so I could address this. I could bury people. If someone wants to call in and accuse me, my phone number's right there. I don't even know how to spoof this phone. And so when people try to accuse me of a lot, damn it, yesterday I was at a city council meeting. I was drinking beers with city owners here. I ain't got time for counterfeit content creators. They have zero content. And
I
so
think the point that is hard for me is the fact that they're dragging Jenny, who is not a content creator at the time, into their battles with other content creators. It's like, why are they picking on some normal Joe Schmo who has, nothing but her own life going on?
well, Jenny probably helped. I'm not gonna let Jenny off the hook when I say that I don't think Jenny called anyone. I don't think Jenny's been harassing anyone. I don't think Jenny has been, but Jenny is very, very vocal on YouTube with both Jay, with True Crime, with me, and she has done some of that under that Colorado Crime Con email because she helped us set up the Colorado Crime Con email. And so, the problem is like once you start playing in this YouTube world, and it is a world among itself. You guys are your own little society. And subs love the drama. Leah loves the drama.
Leah doesn't love the drama. That's where you're mistaken. Leah likes to listen to true crime stuff.
Well, I
and there's
understand.
a lot of drama.
Yeah,
on
but
people
listen.
that are masking their channels as true crime.
Well, yeah, a lot of people mask their channels because, again, they're creating they can
Exactly.
the counterfeit content. Like they get to a point where they say the exact same thing in every live, in every video,
They have
and
nothing else to talk about, so they start saying other people's names, and that brings them up in other people's conversations like this.
well, like, and I don't even care. Like the only reason this conversation came up is because you called. Right? I would
Well,
have.
exactly.
I don't even know who we're talking about in a sense of I don't even know what was said last night because I sure as hell wasn't watching. And so I didn't make a mistake. I did it on purpose. I did go into someone's channel yesterday, and Casey even called me out. I didn't know Casey was there. I don't even know how I ended up there. It was like one of those. It wasn't a notification. I just clicked on it and I was on a channel. And this person was talking about other people, and I was like, I know that they saw me come into the room because like I can see when people come into my room even if they don't chat. I don't know if you guys know that, but a lot of times I can see who's come into the room even when you haven't chatted. And so I don't like to give I don't like to sneak in a room if I'm not, unless I'm just going to creep. If I'm going to creep and listen, if I'm just going to suck it in, I won't say anything. But I snuck into this room. I didn't sneak in. I ended up there and I was like, oh, you're not talking about dad, are you? So I like made a comment, no response, and then I left. And so that could have triggered something. If those are the if those are the people that are talking, I just feel sorry for them because I literally watched for 15 seconds, enough to make a comment, and then I was out. And so
Yeah, and that's why they're saying that they think you're guilty of swatting people with the police is because you showed up in that live and then turned around and left.
I can look everyone in the eyes in my camera, and I can tell you that I have never, ever, 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 ever called the cops on anybody but the people that almost hit my kids out in front of my house with their car. I would never do that. I think it's dangerous, first of all,
because people die.
Like if someone swats me. Now the good thing about me is like I was sitting next to the chief of police yesterday. Literally, I was sitting right behind him. So if Woodland Park swats me, they're coming to kill me. And it doesn't matter who calls them. It doesn't matter who if they try to swat me, it's because they want to, right? But it's not because someone called them. But I have a feeling that if people have already called Woodland Park police on me. They've already done it.
Yeah.
They've put videos out, right? And so it's hard to swat me because I know every officer by name and they know me by name and they know that there's cameras everywhere and they know if they have an issue they can walk right up to my house and they can come talk to me. And the chief of police and I had a conversation last night actually. And so I think it's not funny in a sense of people could get killed quickly. They can die
Exactly.
quickly. And there's a guy who just got arrested and sentenced to prison because of swatting. And so I think it's ludicrous, you know, but whatever. I mean, again,
Well,
it's the fact that we're
because
talking
it's
about
such
it.
a serious accusation with making a, that's that's a threat to a lot of people, the swatting, and it should be because it's dangerous. And I think that I wanted to bring it up because I know that you and Jay and Jenny have higher morals than that. And since, this person was relevant, please, well, why not give them some relevant information that they can have for themselves? If they're curious, now they've heard the words come out of your mouth.
Oh, accusing me. Oh, Jay saying she has the video of. We could talk about that tonight, Jay. I don't. For me, it's one of those things. Like I can't. I don't want to be hypocritical where I tell them they could say my name. I don't give a shit if they're saying my name, saying I'm swatting them. Good for them. They're saying my name. These people are they could say my name 100 times. It don't bother me. By people I don't even know. Like that's the thing. I love. God bless all you souls because you guys send me some of the best screen captures ever of people talking about me. And I keep telling people I'm going to release a book. I think I need to do that book because y'all would love to read the shit people say about me. And these are people that don't even, like, I don't even know them. I don't
They
care.
don't interact at all.
Like,
Yeah.
I could care less what my parents say about me. Right? Like I'm trying to think of like who could say something about me that would actually hurt me, and I can think of four people. My three
Your children.
my three children and my wife. And so
Absolutely.
like if my three children and my wife has said some things to me and I've said like again, I was just telling the other caller, I hate that people think like we're Mrs. Perfect Underground cuz damn it, I've thrown shit. My wife's thrown shit. My kids have thrown shit. We've getting mad. We've yelled at each other, and we're not. We're just a family. We're just
That's
a
normal
family.
family stuff.
So like I don't want to put out this idea that it is, but I do get coffee in bed every morning. I do. I absolutely get
Well,
coffee in bed every morning.
Miss Underground does an exceptional job. We are all think very highly of her, and she takes a very good care of you.
Yeah. So like I mean I don't mind again if they're not saying my name then I'm not doing something right. And it ain't swatting them because I ain't swatting them. I swear to you guys, up until 2 seconds ago when Leah called in, I had no idea what was coming. I thought you were going to talk to me about some actual questions.
Well, they were legitimate to a few people, so.
Christy Rose says, change the subject.
Well, let's change the subject then. You guys have a great rest of the day.
Oh, you don't have another question for me? I don't want to cut you off like that.
No. I'm good on it. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Leah. Thanks for calling. Uh-oh, I missed 2 calls from 201. If you're 201, call me up. I don't even care. We could talk trolls. We could talk. This is call in. This is your questions. There's no rules to this game. I hope I didn't make Leah mad when I said their subs like to start drama. You guys know you like the drama. Quit lying. Y'all like true crime, but y'all know y'all like drama. The Facebook says y'all like drama. YouTube says you like drama. Oaklawn, Illinois. This is Dad with a phone. You're live.
Hello, Michael?
This is Michael.
Hi, Michael. This is Nicole from Yvonne's. How are you today?
Hey, I'm actually in the middle of a radio show, and we're taking calls to my cell number. But hey, give me 2 seconds. Let me kill this. Let me kill this on the air real quick. These people can wait. We're back live. Y'all don't even know who that was.
Michael.
Who's this?
It's Bobby.
Hey, Bobby, you're not in my phone because I like to be surprised, but I should have known when Jersey was calling it was you.
You better put me in your phone from now on. Let me tell you that.
I'm gonna put you under Romad though. I like Romad better than Bobby.
All right. I just kept calling. I wanted that call to stop so bad.
I know.
They want this. They want this stuff to start. And I just wanted to stay off that topic so bad.
I hate Bobby, but Dad I don't have very many rules with these call-in shows, so I don't mind taking any kind of questions. I didn't know that question was coming, and but I haven't been reading chat, so I guess there's been stuff in chat they've been talking about in chat, and so I haven't been paying attention.
That's exactly what they want. They want our family here to start in on that crap, and I don't want to see it.
I know. You know what I like though, Bobby, is when they mention my name and then like people want to come over here and be mad, but then they hang out for a second and they're like, "Damn, this is way better." Yeah. So I don't. You gotta have if no one is saying your name out there, you must be doing something wrong.
Yeah. Hey, when you were at that meeting last night, you were cracking me up when you were zooming in on that guy's gun.
Do you know who that was? That's the chief of police.
Oh, is that Adams?
No. That's Chief Miles DeYoung. Christopher Adams is just an investigator. The guy sitting in front of me, and so that's a funny story. Let me tell this story because I know some of these people don't listen to the Underground, but what Bobby's talking about is yesterday Woodland Park had what they call a strategic planning meeting for the city. Now it was an open meeting to the public, and it was at our UPass Cultural Center, which happens to be the cultural center in which KK parked behind when she walked up to Kelsey. So first of all, it's just right up my block. So I walked up there. I had a couple of beers at the Beer Works, and was talking to the owner of Beer Works and the former mayor of Woodland Park, and we were talking about this meeting. Then when I walked into the meeting, I realized quickly that although this was a public meeting, there was like 35, 40 people there. Probably 30 of those people were employees or city council members. And so like they were either city employees or city council members, and then there was like 4 people from the public. I went down and sat by myself at a table with no one at it. So I was sitting at a table with no one at it, and the keynote speaker, the lady who's a consultant, we paid her to come tell us a bunch of bullshit. She says, "Oh, sir, you need to come sit right here." And she puts me in a chair directly behind the chief of police. Now, if you've been watching the Underground or Dad with a Phone, I haven't been very nice to the police. Well, they haven't been very nice to me either. So, it's a mutual hate, or it's a mutual love-hate. They may love to hate me, or I may love to hate them. I don't know. Either way, I end up sitting right behind the chief of police. And so, yeah, it was a fun night.
Yeah.
But you liked the little gunshots, did you?
Yeah, it was cracking me up. Check out this guy's clock.
I thought that was funny because there was a couple of comments like when so people were asking, what do we want from Woodland Park in 10 years? And they were like, we want it to be a safe place where people can walk down the streets, And so at one point they wanted us to vote on like the top priorities. And I said, this is a question I asked. I was like, so that I don't have to waste one of my votes, because I didn't want to waste a vote. I was like, can we just agree that we all want this place to be a safe place? And the lady was like, nope, we have to vote on it, because what if only the chief of police wants it to be a safer place? And I was like, well, he's got the gun in here tonight, so we all got to go with him. Oh man, he's a funny man. He's a funny man. Anyway, so fun stuff. Well, thanks for watching the Underground.
Yeah, what's on the agenda for the weekend?
So I got a couple things happening. Actually, I got a new deal coming out tomorrow. We're going to be at the location. First of all, we're going to be in Florissant, Colorado. This is home to Patrick Frazee, Omar Fraze. We'll probably make a drive past Omar Fraze's house because we're going to be right there. We're going to the location of Colorado Crime Con, and so I'm going to do some video out there at the location, meeting with the owners, getting some details worked out. They invited me out for a special event, and they just were like, yeah, come out. So we put that on the agenda just tonight, or just this morning. So we're going to be out there tonight. We got Jay is for Justice. And then I have been contacted, or I've been in contact with the people who have put together that petition for Kelsey's case. And we have some special content planned. It's stuff like you've never seen when it comes to these cases. And so they're working on some stuff. We're gonna do some collaboration, and we're gonna release some kick-ass content probably early next week. And it's gonna be focused around that petition. So that's gonna be fun.
Cool. All right. Put me in the phone now.
I'm gonna put you in the phone right now. I'm not taking another phone call until Bobby's in my phone.
God bless you and the family, brother.
All right, man. Make sure you tune in later tonight for Jay is for Justice.
I'll be there. You know I will.
I know you will. I'll talk to you later, man.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bobby's going in the phone. I missed the call. Y'all can call back in just 1 second. Let me put Bobby in the phone. Recents. Oh, wait. I almost just deleted Bobby. Don't delete. Create. Don't call me right now. Create new content. Bobby. I put him in here, Bobby Romad. I think it's Romade or Romad. I don't know. I'm terrible. Speller. Romad. Romained. I don't know. It's in there. Bobby, you're saved, buddy. You're safe. All right, call back. If I missed your call, call me back. From Oregon, make a call. From McMinnville, Oregon. How'd y'all like that other that other call that came in? That was hilarious. That lady was freaking out. I had to put y'all on hold. Michael, is it busy? Laugh out loud. Thanks. Michael is busy. Oh, yeah. I am busy. I love being busy. I love this. I love the fact that I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. Y'all think I'm kidding. I'm going to do it here. One of them corporate companies are going to pay me a bitch load to do it for them. Either one. I don't think I'll ever stop doing it for myself, though. We got a couple of podcasts coming up next week, too. You're going to want to join in. Romad, what he was talking about, and I'm really trying to shift it. You little sneaking subs, y'all came in and took over my underground channel. I had this whole damn brand built around this beautiful town. All of a sudden, a lady gets murdered on my street, and my Facebook turns into Murder Central. Trust me, I'm addicted to it. That's why I created Dad with a Phone, because I'm trying to take back that brand of Woodland Park Underground. Even though I keep throwing shit in there, I still try to take it back a little bit. So I think it's done. Uh-oh. My boy. Go shoot some gators. I want to go dinosaur hunting. I'm ready to go dinosaur hunting. We believe you. Who are you talking to? Me? You believe me? You rock, Dad. Desiree, I'm going to read that chat. I love this too. What else? Romance said. Lake Havasu City. Have you ever been there? I have been to Lake Havasu. You shouldn't not. What makes this cool? Thank you, Christy Rose. Lots of suspicious deaths in and near. Hell yeah, Dre. We can stay busy. Oh, did y'all hear we're going to jail? Shh. Me and Jay is for Justice are getting thrown into the Teller County Jail. That's a true story. June 13th. Hey, are you coming, Dre? 3,000. I don't even know if that's the same Dre. I could be wrong. I don't know. She got too many fake accounts. True Crime True Finder just went live. Maybe I should get off. I've been going for an hour. It's about time. Keep it under an hour. 94 folks. 100 people. What do y'all want to talk about? I got another one. Make a call. When you coming to Vegas, Desiree says. Shit, if you ask my wife, she'll go tomorrow. That's where we got married in Vegas. So we got to do I got to do something out there. No, Leah, she does not have a question for you. Oh, Leah. Leah was one of the, I don't know if she's a faithful 30. She might have came after the faithful 30, but she's been following Dad with a phone since Kelsey's case started. She's not an original, though, undergrounder. Don't get mad at me, Leah. Oh, look at this beautiful lady calling. Yes, is this Grandma?
This is Grandma calling.
How are you doing, Grandma?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
I heard you're fighting with Daddy.
You heard what?
I said I heard you're getting in a fight with Dad. I'm just kidding.
I don't call you that, so I don't know who that is.
You don't even know who that is. What are you up to,
I
Miss?
don't.
Are you feeling better today?
No, I was until all this stuff started again.
Man,
I'm just getting really tired. I just want to say something. A couple things, actually.
I'll let you go.
Okay, so I'm really getting tired of the drama community and them trying to drag non-drama crime channels into their bullshit. Number one. Number two, I'm sick of going into chats like yours today and being called a liar and this and that and the other. So I just wanted to address those people.
Who called you a
They're still
liar?
watching.
Who called you a liar?
Oh, I don't even know who they are. Allison and some other person. They're like, because last night the shit kind of went down, and me and you and Jenny kind of got lumped into swatting a couple YouTubers that I've never even had any beef with, so it doesn't even make sense that I would swat them. But this individual, you know, she didn't exactly say my name because a friend asked her not to, but she didn't hesitate to say Jenny's name. And I think it's bullshit. You know? I just think it's bullshit. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
Well, so Miss J.
I mean, I know what you say, like it's drama, but like when people take it offline, it goes into people's real lives, you know, who have children, and like I have a grandbaby. I don't need someone fucking with her and
No,
calling
and
the cops
listen,
and
I
saying-
understand. Yeah, I understand when they go off. When
Yeah.
the whole swatting thing, first of all, is just dangerous. It's so
Yeah, it's
dangerous
so stupid.
because you are bringing law enforcement who is trying to do a job, right? They're under extreme pressure, and you're putting them in a situation, and it is just not. It's just dangerous. It's just stupid. It's dangerous, right? If you want to have a drama channel and you just want to talk about everybody and be the drama queens of YouTube, I encourage you. There is a space for it, and subs love it. But what like with Jay, with Jenny, first of all, Jenny, like I know that Jenny's getting it because she was like through I know it, a lot of it comes from me because I'll say stuff. I'm not scared of it.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's guilty by association. Right?
Yeah, it's like a guilt by
Before
association.
I say something, she's totally going to get the brunt of it because she's just a sub.
Yeah.
She's an easy target.
And she put herself out there, one, and that was my fault, right? Because she did something for us. Like when I wasn't going to be able to go to that court case, Jenny was going to come down, go with Miss Underground, and that's what they did. And so part of the reason is she put herself in that category because she did some of the videos that both have been played from Patrick's deal. It's sad. It's sad. I just feel bad for these people, like the content, the creators of this stuff, because like again, you're going to run out. Like you're going to run out of content, even talking bad about other people, and people are going to see through it, and it's just damaging on your own self. Like,
Well, it's crazy because people seem to love it. You know, we have a lot of people who come into our chats and complain, but then I see them rolling in her chat, and it's like, when does it get old? Because it's the same thing every night. But when you're bringing it into real life and you're calling the cops and you're putting law enforcement in people's homes, that's wrong. That is wrong.
well, again,
And
if I didn't have the relationship, good or bad, if I didn't have the relationship, good or bad, with law enforcement here in Woodland, I'm sure they would have already come through my doors. I mean, they have literally already called the cops and done these things live on YouTube's, and people are sending me clips of stuff, and so I feel bad for those that live in big cities where they don't know every cop and they don't know every, person in town. Again, I know everybody from homeless people to the mayor, and so if they swap me, they're going to have to swap me through people who actually know me, and so it would be hard for the chief of police to run a warrant on my house today when he was sitting behind me or in front of me yesterday, on for some kind of weirdness. I mean, my life's pretty open. My door's open. Just don't kick it in.
Yeah, you are, and you know what? You are pretty open, and you're not afraid of that. But these single mothers, and that's who they are calling on. These women are single mothers with little children, and they're saying that they want to kill themselves and that they have a gun in the house and crazy stuff like that.
Well, and that's
Really
that's an issue. And that's a real issue that
it is.
law enforcement's going to have to deal with. Like that is where law
What a waste of
enforcement is.
resources.
Yeah, those are law enforcement's going to have to take those resources and go, okay, this call came from here, it was spoofed from here. They're going to have to do their due diligence
Yeah.
in that sense, because I can't, not me, but you can't take a blame for something even that they're trying to blame you for or trying to blame us for or whatever. But the real truth of it is like, this is the world we live in. Law enforcement's going to have to do their job. And I've noticed that around this true crime stuff, around it, just around in the genre of it, is people that like to start drama. And they get offended. Like they get, crazy offended.
There is, but can I give some advice to everybody in the chat?
Absolutely.
I have branched out and started looking at other true crime channels, and there's a shit ton that are like us that don't do the drama. And I think what it is we're in this little circle, and we need to bust through it and get to these other people, because we're not the same as these drama, and we're kind of lumped into this drama community, and I don't like it. I don't want to be a part of that. I'm not a part of it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
There's so many other channels out there that are true crime, and they stick to true crime, and they're doing a good job at it, and they don't have the added drama. So, do some searches on YouTube, you guys. There's so many other channels out there that are so worthy of your time. That day in and day out drama talking about other creators is just old, and it's a waste of time. They sit there on live for 5 hours talking about this stuff. You never get those 5 hours back, man. Learn something.
That's time management.
Go to a channel that offers something.
Yeah, it really is it really boils down to a time management issue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean those are the words of the best ones out there. The guys that got more followers than anyone, and when they're asked about, well, you got all this hate coming your way, and he's like, and he said it. It was Kevin Hart. He was like, that's a time management issue. I don't understand how people waste their 24 hours, their day, like day after day. All they want to do is drama talk or whatever. I mean, even attack other people. It's just a time management issue. And so,
So moving forward, I wanted to ask you about Jitsi. I've been kind of out of the loop the past couple days. I wondered if there was any updates. I know somebody else was asking too.
Absolutely. And Jay, no need to get into any fights in chat. You now have you can own the chat.
Oh shit.
Oh
Well,
shit. Oh,
Susie Boo just called me a fatty. Ouch. That hurt,
ouch.
Susie Boo.
Susie Boo may disappear. I don't know. Um, Gypsy's case is where you and I know where these things are going to end up. They're going to end up stalled, cold, and it's scary. That's how scary it is for me because I feel like if I could just go scream and knock down the doors of Colorado Springs police, I just don't understand why they haven't done a press conference now. Like
Yeah, so really no movement, huh?
yeah, there's really hasn't been. So yesterday I contacted the FBI and CBI and I had to leave messages. I got answering machines to leave messages. I said who I was. I said I was trying to figure out more information on Gypsy's case. I also left a message with CSPD, Colorado Springs Police, on Monday, I think. I left a message with the detective. He hasn't called me back. I'll probably call again next week. I'll call once a week. I feel like once a week isn't harassment by any means,
Yeah.
especially when you're
Yeah.
talking about a missing person. I feel like if I started calling every day, they could say I was trying to harass law enforcement, but just to get an update because they're not doing any public updates. And so I do believe that there are people right now in the Filipino community that are working with Margie to bring Margie to the States. I believe they're working those details out. And so I talked about some stuff yesterday. I'd had some messages from Margie and from some of the other family members about some maybe some psychic leads, and I know you understand this because you've been doing this for a little bit. It seems like the psychic community is kind of real big into like death and missing people stuff. And so
Yeah.
I know that there have been some psychics that have reached out to the family and have mentioned different spots. I personally don't necessarily subscribe. I've talked about the spiritual stuff a lot, but I don't necessarily subscribe to all of these theories that come out from the psychics. But because I
I
am
find the psychics really interesting.
no, and yeah, you had that
Yeah.
one dude that you had on about Kelsey's it was Kelsey's case.
Yeah.
And it was early on in the case that you had that I think his name is Jerry. No, is it Jerry?
Yeah, it's Jerry Morris.
Yeah, so
I need
you
to talk to him again.
yeah,
he's cool.
you should have him on again. Just me personally, I don't know if it's because my mom used to be like, if you play with a Ouija board, you're going to hell or something,
Yeah, it's stuck with you.
Yeah, it just stuck with me. So I believe in it. Like, it's not that I don't believe that people can't talk to the dead or talk to the realms beyond. I actually believe that, but I just don't feel like the question is are we supposed to? That's my big thing. Are we supposed? Because when you open those gates, sometimes those gates allow things that you don't want in your life. So anyway, but
We're going to be opening up that spirit box there in that.
bullshit. I'll be locking myself in a cell when y'all are doing that. Listen, what I was going to say was that even though I didn't necessarily go out and search these places, that these psychics and different, and even the mother had sent me messages asking me to go search places. I do know that I got other messages from people who were like, we went and looked, we went and did this. Here's pictures. Here's what the psychic was talking about or where they were talking. We went there. And so even though I'm not the only one looking into Gypsy's case, I think we woke some people up. And first of all, Jay is the one who did the video that woke me up. She did a video that I ended up sharing in our local group, community groups that you guys aren't a part of. And stuff locally. And so I don't even take credit for talking about Gypsy first because it would have only been with the partnership with Jay. And so there's more people out there and the more people, and the same thing with the petition for Kelsey. I have zero to do with the petition for Kelsey other than the people that have done it have reached out to me, talked to me, and I've tried to help promote this idea. But this petition that they've set up for Kelsey, it doesn't necessarily mean that I believe it's going to do anything, but I do believe it's something that these people are passionate about, and I believe it's in a good heart that they're doing it, and I believe that it's for a good reason they're doing it. Whether or not anything happens.
You know these people, because they reached out to me too, and I didn't know who they were, so I haven't responded.
Well, so they reached out to me, and the lady who actually came down and hand delivered the petition, she actually, oh, it's right here. She gave me an original copy of the original, and I met with her for coffee for 2.5 hours and talked to her and found out more about her life and why she's doing this stuff.
Is her name Chris?
No,
Is her
this
name
was
Chris?
this Chris is the one, Chris or Christy or whatever her name is. Christy is kind of one of the team members, but Sally is the one, and Chris was on the news report. She Skyped in on one of the news reports about it. But Sally is the one who came down and delivered both the letter to Attorney Jason R. Dunn, the United States Attorney, and they got an acceptance letter from them, and then they have a letter here to Miss Sullivan, and Miss Sullivan is the acting director of Office on Violence Against Women. And so they were hand delivering these petitions and these written letters. Now, with that being said, this morning I was in contact with them, and we're going to do some really kind of creative content behind this petition. But then I also believe like May 5th, May 4th or May 5th, they're going to deliver the final signatures. And so and I'm trying to work out to be there with them to deliver those signatures up in Denver. And so if the schedule works out, if everything works out, they won't let us video inside the courthouse, the federal courthouse, but if it works out, we're going to go, I'm going to go with them to deliver it. And so,
okay, so it is the same group though.
It is the same group, and it is a group, they have a group on Facebook called The People's Justice for Kelsey, or Hold the People Responsible, something like that. It's the people's, somebody in here knows a lot about it. They can put up the name of the group on Facebook, but again, in my mind, like the psychics and the petitioners, these are just different avenues that people have taken, and I think it's brilliant. I think it's done with good hearts. I sat down and met with Sally, who is from Nebraska. She's a farmer's wife. And I asked her, what were you doing a year ago? And she was like, I was on a tractor. And I asked her, would you ever have thought in 1 year you'd be down in Colorado, trying to get a petition to the U.S. attorney? And she's like, not in a million years. She's like, it's just something I feel. I mean, this lady came down on her own dime. She made the drive. This is an older lady, and
she felt really strongly about it. That's
yeah. I mean, it's just something that it was something that is passionate in her life. And let me tell you, fucking 20 minutes of doing something's better than 2 hours of talking about it. And that woman got out and did something. And whether or not the something, I told her, I was like, never in history has a change.org petition done anything. And now you're asking it to actually bring criminal charges up against someone, And so they are in no way mistaken under a delusion. They're not under the delusion that are the illusion. Yeah, they're not under the illusion that this petition is going to do some incredible change. If it happened, that would be freaking awesome. But it's their step. Right. And
I agree with you.
Yeah, and I think too that if they play it right, and they've been playing it right, they've gotten some key players, they got some press coverage. If they continue to play this petition right, it's not necessarily going to change Kelsey's case, but maybe there's a law that is sparked and comes up because of
And
Kelsey's
changes
case.
something in the future.
Yeah, because of the laws that they are quoting, or the statutes, the federal statutes that they're quoting when it comes to conspiracy to commit murder. Some of those statutes are just out of date. We didn't have social media. We didn't have Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We didn't have those things. We didn't have, the apps that we can secretly text between each other. We didn't have the ways to conspire that we do now. And so,
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or form, they're seeking some reform, law reform, some legality reform. Some people think they're seeking new laws. I think they're more trying to say, hey, can we tweak these laws so that they can apply in the scenario where, KK may have been stalking Kelsey on Pinterest, or, different things like that. And so I think
Yeah,
that's.
they need to get more up to speed with the times.
Yeah, and I think that is something that could come out of this petition, very much so. One, because it falls in an election cycle. And if there's the right politician, the right judge, the right lawyer, the right somebody that catches on and says, oh shit, let's partner up with violence against women. It's going to look good for the election. And this is greedy. This is puppetry. This is what I call puppetry. If you can puppet a politician into helping you help Kelsey, get the hell after it, And if you can puppet a news person to help you spread the message, get after it, And so that's what I love about it, because they are moving in a realm. My ass would never have walked into a federal court and been like, here's a petition, right? But a farmer woman from Nebraska can do that, right? She can put her high heels on, she can put her dress on, and she can go in there, and she's, in her 50s or late 40s, and she can walk in there as a working class of America and be like, if I go in there, it's just dad with the phone. He's a YouTuber. He's a whatever. So it's cool to see normal people that
He's
aren't.
a troublemaker.
Well, I kind of labeled myself that way last night with everybody, but I kind of did it to mess with the consultant we had, because she put me behind.
But you got to keep people on their toes, Mike.
Oh yeah, you got to. You got to let them know that you really don't care. And if you have less care, if you have less give a fucks than they do, they're in a dangerous place when they start screwing with you. So
Exactly. Hey, change of subject. Do we know, is KK living in Idaho right now?
I think so.
Okay.
The reason I think so is unfortunately, KK must have a very loyal group of friends, because I have actually touched the husband. I shouldn't say touched. I've actually spoken with.
I was going to say, you want to change your wording on that?
Yeah. I have spoken with the husband of one of KK's friends. So the wife is one of KK's personal friends, and I've spoken with the husband, and I said, "Will your wife talk to me?" And he goes, "I'm trying to get her to talk to you. But I haven't. I've spoken to people who know KK's best friends, who are friends with KK's friends. I've spoken with people who are, like 1 degree off from that family. But I am finding out that, and I kind of knew this, Crystal Kinney comes from a wealthy family in the Twin Falls area. She comes from a very influential family. There are influential families around Woodland Park. If I were to start mentioning names, people in Woodland Park would know, oh yeah, that's that family, or that's that family. And I believe that's the same kind of family that KK comes from in her small community. It's a family that's given a lot to the schools, both financially, with support, sponsorships.
And they probably probably lived there a long time, if not forever, right?
Yeah, it's been forever and that kind of thing. So people in the area, that's why I said we have to find a dad with the phone. Now, I think I found the husband with the phone, right? But the husband didn't even want to get into an on-air discussion. He called me randomly. It was a random call. I picked up in the middle of the day, and I was like, Twin Falls, Idaho. I pick up a phone, and this guy and I didn't have I was out. I didn't have a recorder. I didn't record it, anything. I was mad. But
Wait, that was KK's husband?
no, one of KK's friends' husbands. So he doesn't even hang out with KK. I was like, well, you tell me about her. And he was like, I don't know her. My wife works with her. They're friends. And so it was a nurse, somebody that worked in the medical community. But it was the husband. He was like, I've been trying to get her to talk to you. But she's in communication with KK right now and she doesn't want to talk. And so what I'm getting to is, she has a very loyal group of friends, but to answer your question, I'm pretty sure she's back in Idaho. And the reason I say that is because the court was very clear that she has the right and the ability to travel within the state or out of the state of Colorado. She can travel and move freely as long as she reports back to when either trial or sentencing. And so, because some people don't realize this, if Patrick takes a deal, the chances are KK will never see the inside of a jail, because the way they gave her plea deal is it could carry up to 15 months in jail. But the truth is, she'll probably get 5 years probation. And that's it. Or 2 years probation. She could maybe only get 2 years probation. And if he makes a deal, then it's going to be hard for them to add the aggravated. And the aggravated charge, they left open-ended to give her that 3-year sentence. But I only think that aggravated charge would come about if in trial something came up. And so if this thing doesn't even go to trial and Patrick makes a deal for a solicitation or whatever, then KK literally is getting away with murder with little more than probation. And that's scary. That's crazy.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. If they could always change her, if they could change her charges if something came out.
I don't think they can, and the reason why I don't know the ins and outs of her plea deal. No one will ever know that. It's against Colorado Constitution to even discuss plea deals, even amongst defense or other co-conspirators. The thing is, though, in a court of law, when you enter a plea deal, you are waiving your right to a jury trial. You're waiving your right to an appeals process. You're waiving your right to any further argument in this case. All of a sudden, if they were to come back and say, boom, we're gonna nail you for this in this case, that's their fault. They should have done that before they gave her the deal. And so, because what happens is the judge has ruled. He has ruled on the deal. He said, the state says it's a good deal. The defense agrees with a good deal. I'm going to say, I rule this deal is done. Now we're holding sentencing until after the trial, and in good faith that you are going to come up and testify. And you're going to tell this testimony. Now, what people don't realize is that she had to say some stuff out loud. Like, she had to read this letter of stuff that she knew about it and she read and understood. If all of a sudden they change the deal, they can't do it legally. It just can't be done legally. There's a better chance that they convict Patrick without a body. There's a better chance that they convict him, and everyone knows how slim that is. Everyone knows how much people have talked about you can't convict without a body. I've talked to...
They do all the time.
They do all the time with circumstantial and with a lot of physical evidence. What we don't have is a lot of physical evidence, I think. And so that's the thing that scares me. And then our circumstantial evidence comes from a known liar. So all of a sudden, it becomes real. It becomes now the real circumstantial evidence is those phone pings and the fact that Patrick lied and some different things that have happened, right? But I don't even know where the hell I was going. Oh, it's more. I know where I'm going because I want to get. I've said this before, but I want people to understand. It's more likely that they will convict Patrick of murder without a body than it is likely a judge is going to take back his decision, because now if the DA screwed up, if the cops screwed up, if everyone screwed up, you're going to ask a judge now. You're going to tell the judge you screwed up on this deal. You're going to come to the judge and say, I want to change the deal now. We know more information. And the judge says, that's not how a court of law works. You had your chance. You had your thing. You rushed the plea deal. You rushed the deal. We know they rushed the deal because she got the deal before she said a word. And
you know what? That makes me wonder if they are basing this case, the majority of this case, on what she says.
We have to believe that. The reason why we believe that is because he was arrested on the 21st, the day after her testimony. So, had he been arrested on the 14th when they initially ran the search warrant, we would have been like, oh, they found something in the search warrant that gave them probable cause to arrest. But their probable cause, first of all, is based on the testimony of a liar, and they even listed a false tweet or a false Facebook account post as probable cause. Like the witch is dead post from the wrong Shelley, right? They use that as a probable cause in the warrant, And so Sheila. And
you
so
always call her Shelley.
Anyway, Sheila.
Yeah, but that was part of the probable cause.
Yeah, and so we know that the main probable cause warrant was issued a day after she gave her testimony. And so and really it's real interesting to think, because even you and I, as close as we are to this case, my wife was in the courtroom. Jenny's talked to you. My wife's talked to you. I've talked to both of them. They were in the courtroom. I had a 2.5 hour breakfast with Sam, another close person to this case. Even all of that, even as close as we are, eyewitness accounts of Patrick. We've been to the Nash Ranch. We've been to Kelsey's house. We've been to Omar Fraze's house. We've been to the Safeway, the Sonic, everyone, right? As close as we are to the case, the only thing we have on KK's testimony is the testimony of Greg Slater via tweets. We don't even have his affidavit. And so it's so fun to me that people have convicted Patrick on tweets. They really have, because we've gotten tweets from this courtroom. We haven't had a camera we didn't have a camera in the pretrial, and the cameras that have been in the motion hearings haven't been given us much info. And I'm watching all these live videos that you guys are doing, or live watch parties on these other cases where they're like have the courtroom all wired up, and it's like good.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this case going, damn it, they need to hire me. I just need to come in and bring in 3 cameras. I'll set up good audio for everybody. And
I know, right?
And I just continue to look at how we're covering this case here in Teller County, and how the news is covering it, and the lack of coverage. It's become crazy. Did you see the report from the Kelsey Schilling case, though?
No.
Do you know about the Kelsey Schilling case at all?
In Colorado Springs, right?
Well, she went missing in Colorado Springs, but she was last seen in Pueblo, Colorado, where she went down to see her boyfriend. Actually, she came from Denver, I think, and her boyfriend now is on trial, but they just closed the preliminary hearing to everyone. They wouldn't let anyone in the preliminary hearing down in Colorado Springs, and
Wow.
Yeah, which is not normal because the Constitution says we have a right to an open courtroom, and so yeah, there's been a couple of big write ups with the local media how they close that, and they could very well do that for Patrick's case, and
See, that sucks.
that would blow some people's. They would just be because of how crooked this thing is. From like the brother's a cop that kills that KK got off with murder and the deal she got and all this. If they try to close the courtroom, which they very well could do, it would be interesting.
Well, there's a case that I'm following in my group right now. It's Tiffany Moss, which is a mother who's charged with killing her daughter, and there was a lot of abuse going on, and she's representing herself. It is the most crazy thing that I've seen in a long time, and they've actually been showing all the evidence on the Facebook Live, like on the court stream, and it's nice to see that as a whole instead of being shut out, but it's really crazy because she is representing herself. She's not objecting to anything. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing.
No, and you know what movie I watched last night when I got off live doing I couldn't go to sleep, and I sat down and turned on Netflix and I watched the start of Fracture. Have you seen that movie, Fracture?
I haven't. Never heard of it.
It's like it's with Anthony Hopkins and some blonde guy, but this guy commits a murder and then he represents himself. But yeah, it's not a real movie. It's just a drama or whatever, but it's a good movie. And so anyway, well, Jay, thanks for calling in.
All right, thanks for talking.
And we'll see what time's tonight. What time's tonight?
I want to tell Jenny, keep your head up, girl. This will pass.
What time's tonight?
Oh, time tonight, 11 Eastern.
11 Eastern. All right, I got a call coming in from Des Moines, Iowa.
All right, see ya.
See ya. How's it going? You're live with Dad with a phone.
Yo, what's up, man? This is James, man. How you doing?
James. Have we talked before?
No.
Oh.
This is the first time I'm calling in.
First time you're calling. You got a little bit of an accent. Where are you from?
Yeah, I moved to Iowa recently. I'm from Denmark originally.
Nice. So you're in
That's
Iowa
alright,
now, but originally from Denmark.
Yeah. So it's all right. It goes like it goes. But I had some questions because I recently had a son like a couple of years ago, and he's doing all right. And since you're your dad, how old are your kids?
My kids are 12, 11, and 4.
Okay, so you have a little more experience in the bag than me. So my son is kind of active. He's trying his best. He can speak a little, but it's kind of like the point. I try to like teach him and raise him really well. I don't let him like watch too much TV or play too many video games or eat candy unless it's weekend, stuff like that. And I think the biggest problem I have is he has this really if I can say it like this shitty friend is daycare called Anthony, and the problem is Anthony's a nigger. He's a filthy nigger.
So now you just want to come on and troll. Oh, got a little. That's the first good prank call we've had in a minute. That's a first good prank call. He's screaming into my phone right now. That's how crazy he is. Oh, we got a good prank call from Denmark. But I got your number now. Ohio, Denmark. Did you spoof that number? We should call back, though. Maybe we should call him back. Is he still here? Maybe he's still here. Oh, did you go away? That's the best you got? Oh, I needed that one. Did y'all block him already? He got blocked, though. What a jerk. Oh, jerks need some love, too. That dude's sitting in his basement right now. He's set. Oh, here he is. Detroit, Michigan now. Hello? Hello, Detroit. You're online. You there?
Yes, I'm here. I have.
Is this the Denmark guy? Oh, you're from the UK. Yeah, tell me your story. Yeah. You got your girl pregnant?
Yeah.
Oh, good. So what are you going to do? You're going to take care of your baby? Is that what you're going to do? Oh, you hung up already. Oh, are you sad? Are you sad? Oh, Mr. Denmark, Mr. UK with the accent. Did you go away? Are you in your little basement right now? I love it. I love it. uh, he thought he was going to be online. He thought he was going to get himself online, didn't he? What an idiot. I love it. We need it. Keep watching Dad with a phone. Oh, ha ha. That's a well-educated. Somebody's calling out. Oh, maybe we got Atlanta, Georgia calling. Are you back? Are you back? Oh, okay, perfect, Aaron. Aaron is in the house.
Aaron is in the house. Aaron has a beef with you about teachers, but we're not going to talk about that right now.
Oh, no, we could talk about anything. Oh, Aaron, the teacher lady.
The teacher lady.
The Detroit, Michigan's trying to call back the UK, so we're gonna ignore him for a little bit.
Oh, right.
Anyway,
Jay
so
keeps
what's your
calling me
question,
the
Aaron?
milkman. Okay, so Jay had mentioned the case that it actually just the defense rested without the evil stepmother doing a damn thing. But because you are a person that's not afraid to go out there and do things, it's been really bugging me that there was just a trial that many of us followed of John Chuck, who threw his 5-year-old daughter off of a bridge in Florida.
God, that was crazy.
Yeah. And then this situation, this young 10-year-old girl was starved to death at the age of 10 and had been beaten by a belt. Police and DFACS had intervened at times, but totally disgusting case. And in this situation, they chose to homeschool her so that the school would no longer report what they were seeing.
Yep.
And I'm not an expert in these types of things, but in the state of Georgia, apparently all you have to do is say, yes, we've decided to, homeschool our child. And I feel like the stepmother was arrested and was on probation for beating this child when she was 6 years old. So it seems to me that in a situation like that, shouldn't there be an exception to the rule? Because, it's pretty obvious in a situation like that, they're probably trying to hide the abuse.
Yeah, and this is a touchy subject with everybody. So, like, I love talking about it because we homeschool our kids, and we don't make any real qualms about it. It is the way we've chosen to raise our children.
Right.
The question I would have to ask you is, whose responsibility are individual children's? Are they the responsibility of the parents, or are they the responsibility of the state?
Right.
And most parents are going to say, well, they're my responsibility, they're my children, right?
Right.
Do I think that there needs to be, well, there are kids. I would tell you right now, I can't say it, but the numbers are there to say that there are more abused kids in public school than there are in homeschool, just because the amount of kids that are in public school, right? And so
Right.
there's abuse happening to kids that go to public school every day. They come and they go home to abuse every day. Is there abuse happening in homeschool families? Absolutely. There's abuse happening in families, and that's probably where you got to start when you get to abuse. It's not because they were homeschooled or because they weren't homeschooled. It's not because
Right.
a kid doesn't go to public school and is protect a kid because a kid goes to public school doesn't mean they're protected from abuse. As a matter of fact, there's probably more abuse that happens within the school with bullying and other kids than there is.
Now, you know, I'm going to beg to differ with you there.
Well, I know you are, but I mean, the teenagers won't. The kids won't. There's not a kid that goes to high school that probably hasn't received some sort of bullying or some form of abuse, either from other kids or from teachers or from a combination of the both. And I'm not talking about physical abuse. I'm just talking about verbal abuse.
Right.
I'm talking about putting
Or,
if you put a room full of teenage boys together, they're gonna do shit mean. Like when you put teenage boys together, they burn cats. When you put teenage boys together, they spray paint walls. They tease girls. This is an unformed frontal lobe of a teenage boy, and when you put them together unsupervised, those boys can do some crazy shit. And this is just me as
right.
so when I talk about schools or the public school education, it is not about whether or not the teachers are good. It's the teachers are overworked. I can barely keep up with my three children, and you're going to put 30 kids in a room with one teacher. Or you're going to do, so like that's where I think the system is just archaic in a
Well,
sense.
yeah.
But
The system has failed. The system failed both um, oh gosh, I'm blanking on the girl's name in Florida, and it failed Tiffany Moss because teachers were reporting, they took her to um, to the Gwinnett County Police Station
yeah.
and arrested the mother. Um, so
Yeah,
being a
so yeah,
being a former teacher, I can tell you that I had students who were being abused at home. The system failed them as well because the DFACS or whatever each state has, um, you know, there's not enough funding, and there's not enough funding for teachers to continue to teach. I couldn't afford to be a teacher
no,
personally,
and like
but
again, that's the big issue. That's the
I
biggest issue is that there is a lack of
right,
quality teachers based on pay, based on the system, based on the way the system divvies out money, like based on the
right,
way it divvies out money based on test scores. That's why I said the public school system is not in the business of education. It's in the business of testing. It's not in the because I'm first of all, I had the worst and the best public school experience you could ever have. Um, I kind of need to answer this, but I'm gonna decline once. Um, we'll see if it's an emergency. It probably is an emergency. Um,
is it
it was
is it
it,
Mrs.
it was
Underground?
Mrs. Underground.
Well,
Oh
you can
no,
switch over if you need to.
no, now it's somebody else calling. So she'll text me. She'll
Okay.
probably be mad at me. She'll be like, "Why didn't you take my phone call?" No, she's out hiking with people. If she calls back, I'll take it. But I just think that I don't even know where I was going. I don't even know what I was saying. I got my head
So
all.
we're talking about the
Yeah,
system,
I mean the system
schools.
of education. It's one of those things. I was saying that I had probably the best and the worst public school experience you could have, but there's a quote from I think it's an Einstein quote, or at least it's credited to Einstein that says, "If you expect a fish to climb a tree, he'll be a failure his whole life." And it's really just saying that people are different, kids are different, they're individuals, they're so individual, and that's something that we have lost from the small schoolhouse. Where if it was a small schoolhouse, kids could learn individually at their own pace in different areas. When kids were mixed in grades, they were taught the same, but yet they all learned in different speeds. Nowadays, it's become so standardized, and really,
Well,
it's
it
really not
still
good
can
for.
depend on the teacher.
Yeah,
I
absolutely,
I
absolutely,
created communities in my classrooms. I didn't.
absolutely.
I had. I never tied a shoelace because if a kid walked up to me and said my shoe's untied, I said, "I bet there's somebody in here that knows how to tie shoes that can teach you."
No, absolutely. There are some great teachers. Absolutely. There are some great teachers. That's nobody teaches because they don't have a heart to teach kids. Or at least the majority of teachers get into education because they love children. They want to be around children. They want to teach children. They want to, or whatever. I have to believe that now because teachers don't make. It's not like they're banking, like you said. They're not paid that much, so it's not
No,
like
and
it's
the
not like a
good ones
profession.
leave.
Yeah, it's not like a profession you get into to bank.
Right.
And so, you know, the family thing, for I think the biggest problem with the school, with education, with the system is we have broken the family. And that's we have broken the family as a society. We have broken the family. I mean, we have there's nothing wrong with being a single parent at all. But we've almost glorified it that it's cool, everything's cool, but it's not the best for your children. I can tell you that the family system is not made up for a woman to get pregnant and then raise those kids by herself. That's not how the family structure works best. Can it happen? Yes. Does it happen daily? Yes. Does it happen all over the world? Well, it happens more here. I mean, single parent families is a U.S. is a Western civilization thing. And it's not something that is normal around the world. And so the idea that we've created this it's okay for a single mom or a single dad to raise, or it's just as good or it's just as wonderful as the family is just not true. And so I think we've destroyed the family in America first. And when you destroy a family, then you're gonna slowly destroy all the systems that are based around the family. And so I just think that's probably a
So,
bigger issue. That's probably a bigger
so my
issue.
thing here is that, yeah, education, all of that, that's an issue. My question is, so we need to accept that the family unit has changed, whatnot. But I feel like we're failing children. There was a 5-year-old buried in Illinois by his parents. In the news just in the last 2 weeks, how many children are being failed? So what can we do? We can give a voice to Gypsy. How can we give a voice to kids? They
Well,
have no voice.
I think the voice, if you want to change that dynamic, if you want to change the failure in children, you can't accept the family as it is. You have to slowly rebuild the foundations of a family. And
But
you
the
have
couple
to.
in
That's
Illinois,
the only way to and even with I'm not even talking about the psychos. I mean, there's a mom and dad. I saw I heard a 911 call of a girl who escaped out of her house, calls 911, and she's like, my 7 other siblings are trapped in the house. We've been abused. And she sounded like a little girl, but she was
yeah.
like 15 years old because she had been abused. Is that crap happening around the country? Absolutely. Absolutely, it's happening. But I don't think that's the normal.
It's starting to feel like the norm.
Only because the press, right? Only because people are glued. I could tell you, like, the thing with the press is people, again, they want to put all that negative shit out there is because they know it triggers response from people. People will watch it. People will comment on it. People will, it's ratings. They're all about the ratings in the news. It has nothing to do with the truth. It's all about the news.
How is that different than giving Jepsy a voice?
Oh no, I think that there needs to be a voice, that children need to be. I think that they need to give a voice to these people, and they need to give a. But they're not really giving a voice to the children. They're talking about the evil, despicable things mom and dad did.
But look at Jay posts daily children that are missing.
Yeah.
That's happening on a daily basis. Am
But-
I right, Jay?
But that's been happening for thousands of years. The idea of slave trade and children trade and sex trade is not a new thing. It happens in every city, major city in America. So that we admit that during Super Bowl weekend, no matter where the Super Bowl is, hundreds of sex slaves are flown in.
Right.
This is fact. This isn't like pretend. And so, like, when people, yeah, it's real ass life. The story of Jepsy could be a story of a purchased woman. It could be that story. It may not be that story. I don't believe it's that story, but there are those stories happening daily. And
Right.
and so, yeah, there is some craziness. I spoke with a woman and gonna do an interview with a woman that was in the sex trade, and she wasn't in the sex trade as a slave. She was the girlfriend of a guy who's been sentenced to 235 years in prison because of sex trade. And so, like, she didn't even know she was in the sex trade, but she was in it, you know. And now only now is she starting to realize how much of a victim she was, you know. And so it's craziness what people will do, how wicked people will be. And that's what we have to remember. Like, when people talk about law enforcement, because I talk about law enforcement a lot. And they're like, law enforcement, back the blue, none of them are corrupt, it's always the criminal. That just isn't logical. If priests in the Catholic Church have been tickling children for years, then there's probably corruption in other organizations that hide it, you know? And so it boils down to the condition of a person's heart, you know? It boils down to, you know, it's the same thing with this dude calling and like wanting to play goofy ass messages and racist quotes. It's like, really?
Right.
That's your time management? Bro, you're dead in 70. You're dead in 80 years. And you want to waste your life making prank calls or doing trolls online, you know? Giving a voice to missing women. I just got sucked into this, by the way. I know you may have only been watching for a short period of time or since Kelsey's case, but I just got sucked into this. I didn't start my year out going, well, I guess it did start out in January, but I didn't start out last year going, oh, I think I'm going to be talking about true crime at the end of the year, you know? And so
Right.
there are things that people latch on to that want to give voice. And do all these people need a voice? Do children, like you're saying, need a voice from teachers? Absolutely. I get scared only because I'm a homeschooler, right? Because it only takes one person, it only takes one of these assholes to call up Child Protective Services, and I have CPS at my door, right? And now I'm having to defend myself on something that I never did, right?
Right.
This happens all the time. This is the same thing with the swatting, right? It's the same thing. So that's where I get a little, and they just passed a law here in Colorado, or there's a big homeschool debacle law going on right now here in Colorado, because Colorado has traditionally been a really homeschool friendly state. Like, we're under an umbrella school. So we pay a few bucks to an umbrella school so that if the state shows up and says, well, we want to see your school records, we're like, well, here, call the umbrella school up, they have them all, and so we personally have to take some sort of protection under an umbrella school, even to homeschool. But there are people in this town, one of the most influential families in this town, when their kids were, or when they were children, they were run out of the state because the state tried to take the children away from from the mother because she homeschooled. And so there's a lot of fear amongst families that they feel like the children are their responsibility. They're not the bad apples, they're not the crazies beating their children. So
here's what I want to propose. We have all these people doxing and swatting and starting drama and saying things about people who are really great people. Instead of putting our freaking energy into that, why don't we start putting some energy into trying to help give a voice to children as well?
Is that like a challenge to me?
To you and to everybody who's been talking crap, on many different channels. There's no just like you were saying, the guy who's calling and making prank calls. That's how you're going to spend your life. How about you spend your time in your life doing things to advocate for people who can't do it themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely in my opinion, it's a wiser way to spend your time. But the problem is everybody has to be their own change in the world, right? I can't force you to change. I can't force you to, to believe the way I believe, because your experiences and your life experiences are different than mine. And just like where you're a teacher and you're an educator, and you believe, I think you and I probably have a lot of the same beliefs in a sense of taking care of kids or whatever. But you are still sensitive to the fact that, like, there are children that the best place for them to be is at school. And I know this. Like, I know.
Because that's the only time they eat.
Absolutely. Don't think that I don't know that. That's not particular for my children, but I know all too well. I know all too well. And I know that you, again, are just joining, but the first 6 months of my life, or my married life, I was a house parent for 15 girls that were between the age of 14 and 18 who had committed crimes, who had come from abusive families, who had come from, who were court ordered to be at this home that me and my wife were house parents at.
Yeah, I know. I've heard this story.
No, so like I know all too well the reality that the best place for some children is public school. I believe that. And so I don't want you to think that I'm like somehow anti public school. I think that it needs to be reformed. I think that it is happening, but I think it's happening at a snail's pace when it doesn't have to happen at a snail's pace, and that's the biggest problem. There is a balance issue. There is a balancing act between allowing a family to be a family and then holding accountable. People would throw a fit if they wrote a rule or a law or a regulation or a code that if you were a single parent, that it was mandatory for CPS to come by. People would throw a fit, right? Why don't you think single parents can raise kids? It's not that they don't.
There's not enough people in CPS to
do that, right? Or people would throw a fit. They throw a fit about anything, right? If you write a rule that is going to say, I can tell you how to raise your children. That's just not the way the family system is structured. That's not how it was set up, And we've done that in the Western world. We have said there are states that it's illegal to not vaccinate your children. There are states, and this is a real touchy subject when it comes, because who owns the rights to your children is what you're arguing over. For
Right.
yeah, and so and we are unfortunately, this is another touchy subject. We are only as free as the system in which we live in. And we are not the
Exactly.
freest country in the world by any stretch of the imagination. But we have a good system that works, right? We have clean home. I mean, clean. We have basic clean living. Clean water in most cities in America. Not all cities, but most. We have basic needs met for standard of living. Even people who can't afford a standard of living, we do project homes or subsidized homes. Where in other countries, tough luck, build your own shack. And
Right.
so as much as the system's broke, I live in the mountains of Colorado, have a beautiful life, and I am thankful for the system in which I was born into. I didn't have a choice. I didn't know that I was going to be born on this piece of dirt. And so it's crazy though, because as free as we are, we have our own restrictions, our own rules that we have to follow. We have our own guidelines from state to state, especially when it comes to education. And so it's a crazy world. I don't know if we can solve it. That's why I think we have to solve it amongst ourselves. You have to solve it individually. That's the only thing anything really the only way change really happens. It happens on an individual level. It happens with communities creating environments. Like, again, I was at a city meeting last night for my little town. You know what? There were like 3 city people there that were outside of employees. That just tells you how much people really care, right? Because they didn't show up for the strategic planning meeting. They're not going to have any input on this, right? Because people just don't have time. They're like, we're trying to feed our family. I got to get some rest before I go to work tomorrow. And so it is a unique situation we find ourselves in 2019 that,
But think about this: when we're watching these cases, when we hear about these children, the thing that comes out of people's mouths are, "Oh my God, the system failed them. The system failed them." People do say, "How did nobody in the family do anything?" But then it always goes back to the system failed them. So I feel like, collectively, we should be thinking about how can we help, because we know that the system doesn't have the capacity and ability. And
the problem is we're stuck between morality and law. And not all laws are moral laws, right? So I can't be a vigilante. I can't just go up and be like, KK, I know you helped kill Kelsey. An eye for an eye. We're hanging you in the streets of Cripple Creek. That doesn't happen anymore. It did at one point in this country, right? And that's why there is this silent vigilantism that happens online. There is this silent, or it's not even silent. We're screaming online, right? But if I wanted to, or if it was legal, or if it was at least socially acceptable, I could probably say, all right, women, I need 50 women here, and we're going to storm Teller County, and we're going to go get Patrick, and we're going to hang his ass in the streets, right? We could do that. We would all get shot and killed. And it could be great morality. It could be a great moral decision to go get justice for Kelsey. And Omar Fraze, you want immunity? That means you were a part of this. We're coming for you too. Like, we could do this vigilante thing. But we find ourselves in a civilized society where we have written these laws. We've created this judicial system. We've created this system that now is releasing murderers back onto the streets with little or no punishment. Maybe some social justice happens on social media with KK. Maybe something happens down the road. But there is this line of morality versus law. And right now we have to follow the law. We can't just vigilante justice,
Right.
as much as some of us want to. Like if we knew about a kid that was being beat, trust me, there's more vigilante justice that happens inside the prison system, right? You don't want to go to the prison system and be a child molester. You will die or you will have a sucky life for the rest of your life. So there is some vigilante justice still happening even amongst criminals. But when it comes to the society world out here, we got to stay prim and proper. We have to stand across from child molesters. We have to stand across from murderers, and we have to control our inner justice and say, we got to let justice play out in the system in which we live. And that's where a lot of people try to check out of the system. They like, I'm going off the grid. I'm going to do this. Well, you can do that amongst yourselves. But as soon as you start organizing or you start getting a group together that want to live a certain way, you become a cult. You become a danger to society. You become the outcasts that aren't following the system. And so it's a weird place we find ourselves in for sure.
Yeah. It's a tough subject, but when I see all these people arguing over, I'm going to troll you, I'm going to call the police on you, and stuff that's serious and impacts families and, impacts people personally. And I'm sick of seeing that. I want people to put energy into things that matter. Look out for your neighbors, look out for the kids that live next door, and, educate. If you meet a parent that seems like they're overwhelmed, say, hey, do you want to take an afternoon off? I'll babysit your kid. Do what you can to help. Quit with all the hate on YouTube. It's just
we've created this system too. I mean, we're a part of it, right? You're a content consumer. I'm a content consumer. I'm a content creator. We've created this online barrier that people get to hide, and some people's lives suck, man. Some people's lives suck. That dude who was calling, I can't even imagine the life that guy lives in real life. I can't even fathom it, because nowhere in my mind am I like, oh, I'm going to go call a YouTuber up and screw with them. Like, there's just not anything in my mind that comes up to that. But yet, that's one of the very first prank calls I've ever had where somebody's gotten like verbally pretty quickly. Like, he tried to start off real slow, and I was like, where's this guy going? And then he throws it. He wants to throw out the N-word or whatever. And so,
right.
So I think that there's a loneliness people face. I mean, listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there aren't days I haven't woken up in my life and been like, what is this all about? Why am I here? What am I doing? Right? That's just, in my mind, that's normal stuff people face, right? Like, if you're not asking global questions, if you're not asking questions of yourself, like, where do I just turned 40 years old, and I'm like, where am I going to be when I'm 80, And so, but you can't force that on people. I mean, we've created some pretty crazy shit. People are worried about where their next meal's going to come from in America.
Right.
People are worried about, are they going to be able to afford to even go to work or drive to work? Like you said, I can't even afford to be a teacher, because it costs me more money to be a teacher than I'm making. And so, those are hard life questions. And so, but we've created, again, you got to have the latest, greatest. You need a car payment. You need a house payment. You need a credit card bill. You need a this, you need a that. And then all of a sudden you find yourself trapped to a system where you're a slave to a job. And then you wake up when you're 60 and like, what the hell happened to my life? And so I believe there's breakouts from that. I believe people can break out from the monotony of their daily life, that they may not think that that's how they worked out. But that's for a whole nother call. Oh, hey, well, thanks for calling in.
Yes, you need to find out what Mrs. Underground wants. You're going to be in the doghouse.
I'll call her right now when I hang up.
Okay.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I got all these women keeping me on track. Making sure Miss Underground ain't mad at me. She probably just, I don't know what she's doing. Maybe asking if I want lunch. Let me see. Hopefully she ain't broke down. She would have blown me up if it was an emergency. I think. Maybe. It's terrible. I don't even know my wife's number, isn't it? Isn't it? Do you know your wife's number? You guys. Oh, shoot. I've been going for 2 hours. Thanks for hanging out. We'll be back. Talk to you later.